After the duel, the girl's life began to shift in ways she had never imagined. The small town that had once barely noticed her started to take a real interest. People who had walked past her in the streets, assuming she was just another face in the crowd, now stopped to greet her with smiles and words of encouragement. She felt a strange mix of excitement and disbelief. The duel had been a simple challenge, a moment of courage, and yet it had opened a door to an entirely new world. The millionaire musician, who had initially come to the town with a sense of pride and superiority, became a surprising ally. He had been stunned by the girl's performance, not just by her technical ability, but by the emotion she poured into every note. He approached her after the crowd had dispersed, his usual arrogance softened by genuine admiration. "You have something rare," he told her. "Most people spend years chasing skill, but you already have the soul of a musician. Don't waste it." Those words felt heavier than any applause. They carried both recognition and responsibility. In the weeks that followed, invitations began arriving. Local concert halls, music teachers, and even some national competitions wanted to meet the girl. She had never left her town before, had never performed in front of a crowd bigger than her school auditorium, yet now she was being offered opportunities she hadn't dared to dream about. At first she felt overwhelmed. The idea of leaving everything familiar, her small apartment, the cafe where she worked, the town she knew, was frightening. But each invitation was a sign that she couldn't ignore. This was her chance to grow beyond the boundaries she had always lived within. Her parents, neighbors, and old friends supported her, though some were cautious. They saw her talent but worried about the pressures of fame and the unpredictable world of professional music. The girl understood their concern but realized that her life had already changed. She couldn't go back to being invisible. The duel had shown her that even a single moment of courage could alter the path of a life. It wasn't about money or status. It was about the power of dedication and authenticity. The millionaire became her mentor in a way that surprised both of them. He guided her through technique, helping her refine her performances without taking away the raw emotion that made her music unique. At first she worried that his coaching would make her lose her own voice, but he encouraged her to blend skill with feeling. "Technique without heart is empty," he reminded her constantly. "And heart without technique is fragile. You need both to truly reach people." Their sessions were intense but also filled with laughter and discovery. She learned faster than she imagined, driven not only by talent but by the desire to honor the opportunities she had been given. Public appearances followed. At first she played in small town halls where audiences remembered the duel and wanted to hear more. Her performances drew growing crowds and word began to spread beyond her town. Music critics who had never expected anything from a simple girl from a small town now found themselves writing about the depth and authenticity of her sound. Articles praised not just her technical skill, but the way she conveyed emotion through every note. She became a symbol of hope for those who felt invisible, proving that opportunity and talent could intersect in extraordinary ways. Despite the growing recognition, the girl stayed grounded. She remembered the cafe where she had worked, the long nights practicing in her room, the quiet moments when no one else believed in her. Those memories reminded her why she played, to express herself, to connect with people, and to show that music had the power to transform lives. Fame and attention were welcome, but they were not the goal. Each note she played carried gratitude for the moment that had changed everything, the duel that had revealed what she was capable of. The town, too, began to change in subtle ways. People who had once underestimated her talent now celebrated the potential in their own children. Local schools invested more in music programs, inspired by the girl's story. The duel had shown that greatness could be found in unexpected places, and the town wanted to nurture it. The girl's success created a ripple effect, transforming not just her life but the lives of everyone around her. Her story became a reminder that talent could flourish when it was recognized, encouraged, and allowed to grow. Over time, she faced new challenges, the pressure of bigger stages, critical audiences, and the constant demand to prove herself. But each challenge reminded her of the duel, the moment when courage overcame fear. She had faced someone who underestimated her and turned the situation into an opportunity. That memory gave her strength. Whenever doubt crept in, she remembered the warmth of the crowd, the genuine applause, and the words of the millionaire who had become her mentor. She remembered the power of music to connect people and the importance of staying true to herself. Years later, she reflected on the path that had brought her from obscurity to recognition. She realized that the duel was more than a challenge. It was a turning point that taught her about courage, humility, and the transformative power of music. The millionaire, who had once been a symbol of arrogance, remained a friend and guide, showing her that mentorship could be rooted in respect rather than competition. Together, they continued to inspire others, demonstrating that talent combined with opportunity could create remarkable outcomes. Her life became a testament to the idea that ordinary beginnings do not define extraordinary endings. The trumpet duel was a moment frozen in time, yet its impact echoed through every performance, every audience, and every person inspired by her story. She played not for fame or approval, but for the love of music and the joy of sharing it with others. And in doing so, she transformed not only her own life but the world around her, proving that courage, authenticity, and talent could turn even the simplest person into a symbol of hope and possibility. The day of the duel arrived, and the small town square was buzzing with excitement. People had gathered from nearby neighborhoods, curious to witness a match that seemed both unusual and entertaining. The millionaire musician arrived in his sleek black car, carrying his golden trumpet and wearing a confident smile. His reputation as a musical genius had preceded him, and everyone knew he expected nothing less than admiration. Meanwhile, the girl, holding her worn but cherished trumpet, stood nervously at the edge of the stage. She could hear her heart pounding, the thump echoing like the drum of anticipation that had filled her dreams for years. The millionaire scanned the crowd and then looked at her, a slight smirk playing across his face. "Are you sure you want to do this?" he asked in a tone that mixed amusement and doubt. She nodded silently, feeling the weight of everyone's eyes on her. The tension was palpable. People whispered to each other, some doubting that she could even play a few notes, while others sensed that something extraordinary might unfold. The girl took a deep breath, trying to steady her shaking hands. She had practiced countless hours alone in her room, and now it was time to let those hours speak for her. The duel began with the millionaire playing first. He produced a series of fast, complicated notes showing off his skill and control over the instrument. The sound was sharp, precise, and dazzling, filling the square with energy. The crowd clapped and cheered, impressed by his performance. Many thought the duel was already decided, assuming that the girl with her modest background could not possibly compete. She watched him carefully, noting his style, his confidence, and the little smirk he wore as if he had already won. The weight of expectation pressed down on her, but she refused to let fear take over. When it was her turn, she lifted her trumpet to her lips. At first, only a few soft notes emerged, trembling slightly as if unsure of their place in the world. The crowd held its breath, sensing the fragility of the moment. But then something shifted. She closed her eyes and let herself feel the music from deep inside. Each note began to grow stronger, clearer, and more expressive. It was not the fast, flashy style of the millionaire, but something different. A melody that spoke of honesty, courage, and the struggles she had faced. The audience could feel the emotion in each note, and slowly, the whispers of doubt turned into attentive silence. As she continued, the girl's confidence grew. She played not to impress but to express, letting the music carry her story. Her fingers moved with precision, yet the sound was warm and rich, full of life and feeling. The millionaire paused, slightly surprised, his smirk fading. He had expected someone timid, someone who could be easily overshadowed. Instead, he was faced with a young musician whose music was powerful in a completely different way. He watched carefully, realizing that technique alone was not enough to captivate the audience. The heart behind the notes mattered just as much. The duel became a dance of contrasts. The millionaire tried to regain the advantage, playing faster and louder, attempting to overwhelm her with skill. But the girl's music flowed naturally, each note building on the last, creating a narrative that touched the listeners. People began to murmur in admiration, leaning forward to catch every sound. Some felt their own memories and emotions stirring within them, as if her trumpet was telling stories they had forgotten or never experienced. The girl, once quiet and unnoticed, now commanded the attention of the entire square. As the minutes passed, it was clear that the duel was no longer about winning or losing. It was about connection, about music speaking beyond words and status. The millionaire realized that his pride had blinded him to a truth he had often overlooked. Talent can appear anywhere, in anyone, and it is the heart that gives it power. He lowered his trumpet slightly, listening more than playing, captivated by the unexpected depth of her performance. The crowd erupted in applause when she finished, a sound that seemed to echo for miles. The girl opened her eyes, seeing smiles, wide eyes, and tears in some faces. She felt a rush of emotions, relief, joy, and a deep sense of achievement. She had faced her fear and played from her soul, and it had been heard, truly heard. Even the millionaire stepped forward, clapping slowly, a genuine smile replacing the smirk he had worn earlier. He nodded at her, a silent acknowledgement of her talent, and the two musicians shared a brief, meaningful glance that said more than words could express. In that moment, the girl realized that music was more than notes and skill. It was a bridge between people, a way to share what could not be spoken. The duel had transformed from a challenge into a celebration of talent, courage, and heart. She felt proud not because she had defeated someone, but because she had revealed her own voice. The people in the square would remember this day, not just as a duel, but as a moment when a simple girl's music shone brighter than anyone had expected,
changing the way they thought about talent,
courage, and possibility. As the duel continued, a subtle shift began to take place. The millionaire musician, confident and bold at the start, now found himself listening more than playing. The girl's performance was not about speed or showy tricks. It carried a story, each note layered with feeling. People in the crowd started leaning forward, drawn into her music, and some even closed their eyes to fully immerse themselves in the sound. The square, once filled with murmurs of doubt and curiosity, now held a quiet, respectful hush. The girl felt a warmth in her chest as she played, realizing that the music was no longer just a challenge to prove herself. It had become a conversation, a dialogue with everyone around her. She could hear the reactions in the rhythm of their breaths, the subtle nods and the occasional tear glimmering in someone's eye. Each note she played seemed to speak directly to the heart, and the pressure of the duel faded into a sense of purpose. She was not just competing, she was sharing her voice with the world, and it resonated more deeply than she could have imagined. The millionaire tried to regain control, unleashing faster runs and intricate embellishments designed to dazzle the audience. He played with the intensity of years of experience and skill, expecting to overwhelm her. But something unexpected happened. The crowd, though still admiring his technique, was now more captivated by the girl's melodies. There was a depth in her playing that could not be measured by speed or complexity. The warmth and sincerity in her sound made every note meaningful, every pause intentional. People could feel the story she was telling, and it tugged at emotions they had long forgotten. At one point, the millionaire played a high, shining note, attempting to reclaim attention, and the girl responded not with competition but with harmony. She didn't mimic or match him but added layers to the music that enriched it, creating a dialogue rather than a battle. It was as if the two instruments were speaking to each other, the golden trumpet of experience and the modest one of raw talent, blending into a conversation that transcended rivalry. The audience watched in awe, realizing that this was no ordinary duel. It was a moment of connection, a demonstration of how music could unite even the most different voices. As the duel progressed, the millionaire's expression changed. The initial arrogance faded, replaced by curiosity and admiration. He listened intently, realizing that his opponent's strength was not just technical skill but the way she made every note count. He saw how people reacted, their eyes wide with surprise, some with tears and others with quiet smiles. The power of the girl's music was undeniable. He had challenged her expecting an easy victory, but now he faced the truth that music was more than talent. It was heart, courage, and expression. The girl, sensing his shift, felt a new energy. She didn't try to win in the traditional sense. She simply let the music flow through her, letting it tell her story without fear or hesitation. Each phrase became more confident, more expressive. She played notes that rose and fell like waves, sometimes gentle and tender, other times bold and sweeping. The contrast with the millionaire's style highlighted the unique beauty of her approach. People were moved not by showmanship but by the honesty of her performance, and the square seemed to hold its collective breath, absorbed in every sound. As the minutes passed, it became clear that the duel was transforming from competition into collaboration. The millionaire's playing softened, and he began to respond to her notes rather than dominate. He adjusted his tempo, echoed her phrases, and even allowed space for her melodies to shine. It was no longer about winning or losing. It was about creating something together, a musical tapestry woven from two very different worlds. The crowd sensed this transformation, and the energy in the square shifted from expectation to awe and admiration. The girl's confidence soared. She realized that music had a power that went beyond rivalry. Her trumpet spoke to hearts, and she felt a connection not just with the audience but with the musician who had challenged her. The duel became a shared experience, each note carrying emotion and intention. She could see the change in his eyes, a respect growing where once there had been pride and doubt. For the first time, the millionaire seemed genuinely interested in her story, listening and responding rather than trying to impress. As the duel reached its climax, the girl played a series of notes that were soft, tender, and full of feeling. The contrast with the earlier high-energy exchanges was striking. The audience was captivated, leaning in, hanging on every sound. She had taken control not by force but by letting her heart guide her playing. The millionaire followed with a softer approach as well, his music blending with hers, creating a harmony that filled the square. It was a moment of pure artistry, a turning point where the duel became a demonstration of mutual respect and collaboration. When the final notes faded into silence, the crowd erupted in applause. There was cheering, clapping, and a sense of joy that spread like a wave. The girl lowered her trumpet, breathing deeply, feeling the exhilaration of what she had accomplished. The millionaire stepped forward, clapping slowly, a genuine smile on his face. He acknowledged her talent not as a rival, but as a fellow musician. He had entered the duel expecting to showcase his skill, but he left with a profound respect for her artistry, realizing that music could teach humility as much as it could entertain. In that moment, both musicians understood that the duel had changed more than just the outcome of a performance. It had transformed their perspectives, the audience's expectations, and the very meaning of the encounter. What began as a challenge driven by ego had become an exploration of connection, emotion, and shared experience. The girl had revealed her true voice, and the millionaire had learned that greatness could be found in unexpected places. Together, they had created a performance that would be remembered for years, not for who won, but for the way music had brought hearts together, proving that true artistry lies in feeling, courage, and the ability to touch the souls of others. The moment after the duel was one of quiet amazement. The girl lowered her trumpet and looked around at the crowd, still catching their breath from the unexpected performance. Faces glowed with admiration, eyes sparkled with excitement, and some people even wiped away tears they hadn't realized had formed. For a few moments there was silence, as though the entire town held its collective breath, absorbing the beauty of what had just happened. The duel had started as a challenge, but it had become something far greater, an experience that touched the hearts of everyone present. The millionaire musician approached her slowly, his expression thoughtful. Gone was the confident smirk he had worn at the beginning. Now he looked genuinely moved. He extended a hand, not in competition, but in respect. "You've shown something remarkable today," he said quietly. "I misjudged you, and I am glad I did. Your music has heart, and that is worth more than any technical skill alone." The girl felt a rush of emotions, pride, relief, and happiness, all mingling together. It was more than praise. It was validation that her efforts, her countless hours of practice, and her love for music had not gone unnoticed. The audience erupted into applause once more, louder and more enthusiastic than before. People were cheering for the girl, not just for winning or losing the duel, but for the courage and emotion she had displayed. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers approached her, offering words of admiration. Some confessed that they had never really noticed her before, but now they felt a deep respect for her talent and bravery. She realized that her music had touched people in a way that words could not. It had conveyed her story, her struggles, and her joy in a way that connected everyone in the square. As the applause continued, the millionaire musician spoke to the crowd. "Today we have witnessed something special," he said. "It is not just about skill or fame. It is about honesty, courage, and the ability to share your heart with the world. Let this be a reminder that talent can be found anywhere, and sometimes it is the quietest voices that carry the most power." His words resonated deeply, and the crowd nodded in agreement, some even applauding him for acknowledging the girl's extraordinary performance. The moment had shifted. The duel was no longer a competition but a celebration of human spirit and artistic expression. The girl's heart swelled as she realized the impact she had made. People began approaching her with curiosity, asking questions about her music, her practice, and her dreams. She answered modestly, sharing her journey from quiet practice sessions at home to the moment that had just unfolded in front of hundreds of people. She spoke of her love for music, the way it had always been a source of comfort, and how playing the trumpet allowed her to express feelings she could not put into words. Her honesty and humility impressed everyone, making them feel even closer to her story. The millionaire musician stayed nearby, offering guidance and encouragement. He spoke to her not as a rival, but as a mentor and supporter. "You have a rare gift," he said. "Do not let fear or doubt hold you back. Keep playing. Keep sharing your music and continue to touch hearts. You have the power to inspire more people than you realize." His words carried weight, not because of his fame, but because of the sincerity and respect he showed. The girl felt a sense of possibility opening before her, a path she had never considered, now illuminated by the support and belief of someone she had once feared as a competitor. In the days that followed, news of the duel spread throughout the town and beyond. People talked about the girl's performance, the emotion she conveyed, and the transformation that had occurred between her and the millionaire musician. Local newspapers ran stories about the event, praising her talent and the unexpected collaboration that had taken place. Invitations began arriving from music teachers, schools, and small concert venues. Opportunities that had seemed impossible just days before were now within reach, and the girl felt both excitement and a healthy dose of nervousness. She knew that these new experiences would challenge her, but she was ready to embrace them. The girl's family and friends celebrated her achievement, proud not only of her skill but of the courage she had shown. They marveled at the way she had faced a daunting challenge, transformed it into an opportunity, and connected with people through her music. They shared stories of her practice, her dedication, and the quiet determination that had led her to this moment. The town began to recognize her as more than just a quiet girl who liked music. She became a symbol of talent, perseverance, and the unexpected power of courage. The millionaire musician continued to support her, attending some of her early performances and providing guidance when needed. Their relationship evolved from competition to mentorship, built on mutual respect and admiration. He helped her navigate the challenges of performing in front of larger audiences, managing nerves and refining her technique without losing the heartfelt quality that had won over the town. She absorbed every lesson eagerly, understanding that this guidance was a gift that could help her reach new heights. As the girl gained more recognition, she remained humble and grounded. She remembered the duel and the moments leading up to it, the fear, the uncertainty, and the courage it had taken to step forward. These memories reminded her of her roots and the importance of staying true to herself. Each time she played, she focused on the emotion and connection, rather than the applause or accolades. She wanted her music to reach people's hearts, not just their ears, and she never forgot the lesson she had learned during the duel, that honesty and feeling could create a powerful impact that technical skill alone could not achieve. The town continued to celebrate her achievements, and her story inspired others to pursue their passions with courage and dedication. Children who had once doubted their own abilities began to practice instruments, encouraged by the example she had set. Local music programs saw increased participation, and the town as a whole felt a renewed sense of pride and inspiration. The girl had not only transformed her own life, but had created a ripple effect that touched the entire community, showing that talent and heart could overcome barriers and inspire change. In reflecting on the duel and its aftermath, the girl realized that the event had been about more than just a competition. It had been a turning point, a moment that revealed her potential, tested her courage, and connected her to others in a profound way. The millionaire musician had been both a challenge and a guide, showing her the value of humility, mentorship, and collaboration. The applause, recognition, and new opportunities were meaningful, but the most important gift was the realization that her music could touch lives and make a difference. From that day forward, the girl continued to grow as a musician, performer, and person. She embraced every opportunity with gratitude, staying true to the heartfelt approach that had captured the town's admiration. She understood that success was not only about skill or fame, but about the ability to connect, inspire, and share one's gifts with authenticity. Her journey was only beginning. but the duel had set her on a path that promised growth, fulfillment, and the joy of touching others with the language of music. She carried that lesson with her in every performance, knowing that courage, honesty, and heart could transform even the simplest beginnings into extraordinary outcomes. After the duel, the girl's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. The town that had once barely noticed her now looked at her with admiration and respect. People stopped her in the streets to congratulate her, and neighbors smiled warmly whenever she passed by. She felt a mix of excitement and disbelief, as if the world she had known had suddenly grown much bigger. The duel had been a challenge, a moment of courage, and yet it had opened doors she never knew existed. The millionaire musician who had once seemed intimidating and distant became a mentor and friend. He had been deeply moved by her performance, not just by the skill she displayed, but by the emotion she poured into every note. He often told her, "You have something rare. Most people spend years chasing skill, but you already have the soul of a musician. Don't waste it." These words carried a weight beyond applause or recognition. They were an acknowledgement that her talent and heart were valued by someone she had once feared. Soon invitations began arriving from schools, music academies, and small concert halls. The girl had never traveled beyond her town before, and the idea of performing for larger audiences was both thrilling and nerve-wracking. At first she hesitated, uncertain if she was ready for this new world. But she knew she could not ignore the opportunities before her. Each invitation represented a chance to grow, to share her music with more people, and to step further into the path that had been illuminated by the duel. Her family and friends celebrated her success, proud of her courage and perseverance. They remembered the quiet, diligent girl who spent hours practicing alone and marveled at how far she had come. Their support gave her strength and reminded her to stay grounded, no matter how much recognition she received. The duel had shown her that talent could be hidden in unexpected places, and their encouragement reinforced her determination to continue developing her skills and sharing her music. With the millionaire musician's guidance, she began performing in larger venues. He helped her refine her technique without diminishing the heartfelt quality that had captivated the town. He taught her to manage nerves, to connect with audiences, and to play with confidence while remaining true to her style. Their mentorship was built on mutual respect and admiration, and over time they developed a strong bond that combined guidance with friendship. She learned to balance skill and emotion, creating performances that were both technically impressive and deeply moving. As she performed more frequently, she noticed the impact her music had on others. People would approach her after concerts to share how her melodies had touched them, evoking memories, emotions, or a sense of hope. Some confessed that they had never felt connected to music before, but her playing had made them feel something real and profound. These experiences reinforced her understanding of the power of music to bridge gaps, heal hearts, and inspire courage in ways that words alone could not. Despite her growing recognition, the girl remained humble and grounded. She remembered the hours she had spent practicing alone, the quiet moments when no one believed in her, and the fear she had felt before the duel. These memories reminded her why she played music, not for fame or accolades, but for the joy of expressing herself and connecting with others. Each performance became a tribute to that journey, a celebration of the courage and dedication that had brought her to this point. The town continued to celebrate her achievements, and her story inspired others to pursue their own passions. Children who had once doubted their abilities began practicing instruments, encouraged by the example she had set. Local schools invested more in music programs, and community events began to highlight young talents. Her journey demonstrated that greatness could emerge from ordinary beginnings, and the ripple effect of her courage and dedication began to shape the culture of her town. Challenges continued to appear, of course. She faced critical audiences, demanding venues, and moments of self-doubt. Yet each challenge reminded her of the duel, the moment when courage had allowed her to step forward despite fear. She carried that memory like a guiding light, helping her navigate new experiences with confidence and authenticity. The support of her mentor, family, and community further strengthened her resolve, creating a network that nurtured her growth. Over time, she reflected on the journey from the small, quiet girl who had stood nervously at the edge of the stage to the accomplished musician she was becoming. The duel had been more than a competition. It had been a turning point, a moment that revealed her potential and transformed her life. The millionaire musician had been both a challenge and a guide, showing her that humility, mentorship, and collaboration were as important as talent and courage. Her experiences taught her that music was not only a personal expression, but also a way to touch the lives of others. She embraced every opportunity with gratitude, knowing that her journey was about more than personal success. It was about inspiring others, sharing the beauty of music, and proving that talent and heart could overcome obstacles. Each note she played carried the lessons she had learned, the value of courage, the power of authenticity, and the importance of connecting with people through genuine expression. Her life had been transformed by a single moment of bravery, and she carried that transformation forward in every performance. The girl's story became a symbol of hope, showing that even the simplest beginnings could lead to extraordinary outcomes. The duel, once a moment of fear and challenge, had sparked a chain of events that changed her life and touched the lives of everyone around her. Her music continued to inspire, and her journey reminded people that courage, dedication, and authenticity could create opportunities, open doors, and transform lives in ways no one could have predicted. As she continued to grow as a musician, she remained true to herself, honoring the path that had brought her to this point. She understood that success was not defined by fame or wealth, but by the ability to touch hearts, inspire courage, and connect with others through one's gifts. The duel had taught her that talent alone was not enough. It was the heart behind the music that truly mattered, and with that lesson guiding her, she looked to the future with hope, determination, and a commitment to sharing her music with the world. Knowing that every note had the power to transform, heal, and inspire,